what the community needs and their questions and everything are truly getting out, because there has been a disconnect of communication going on that's been adding to the frustration.
Coming up next on Scripps News Live, frustration growing in Hawaii as people look for missing loved ones. The search to find answers as to what caused those deadly fires on Maui. We'll have the latest straight ahead.
It is what it is, and I think everyone should debate. If you qualify, I think you owe it to the people to put out your vision.
Republican presidential hopefuls making their way to Georgia ahead of the party's first debate. What they're saying right now about 2024 and the current frontrunner, Donald Trump. And we're getting closer and closer to flu season, but COVID still remains a threat. The rising case numbers and what you should know about updated vaccines.
It's interesting, it's not, you don't hear that every day.
It never makes landfall usually. Usually it stays out far to sea.
And San Diego now under its first ever tropical storm watch as Hurricane Hillary heads north. How people in Southern California are preparing. Scripps News Live begins right now. Hello to you. Welcome to Scripps News Live. Happy to see you on a Friday. I'm Veronica Cruz. We begin this hour with a major development in the Hawaiian wildfires after facing intense criticism in recent days for his decision not to activate the warning system as those fires broke out. Maui's top emergency management official has resigned from his post Thursday, just a day after defending his decision not to sound the sirens. Herman Andaya says his sudden resignation is due to health issues. But in the meantime, search and rescue efforts continue their search on the island as crews work to identify the victims.
This is unprecedented. And for us, although I've spent 25 years working disasters around the world, this is something that I don't think anyone can be prepared for. It's amazing devastation, and there isn't a resident here who isn't deeply impacted directly by this event. And our focus has been on, one, making sure that the survivors have the relief that they need, the food, water, shelter, and love, and then making sure that the teams can identify those who are lost.
National correspondent Dan Grossman joins us now live from Maui. He's been speaking with locals there who want more accountability. Dan, what are they saying right now about this resignation?
Veronica, the main sentiment that we've gotten from the dozens of locals that we spoke with is that this is a step in the right direction. This is a grief process, right? And because of that, there are a lot of competing emotions, whether it be confusion, sorrow, whether it be a need to be able to, find that accountability that you mentioned. And they felt like a lot of that really came from the top. You mentioned that Ndaya, a day before he resigned, defended his decision not to sound these sirens, saying because this fire started up in the hills and not closer to the shore, the sirens would have sent people into the flames. Still, people feel that for the last week and a few days, they've been gaslit by their own local officials. So they said they are happy to hear that Ndaya has resigned, but this is still just the beginning of their process and trying to reckon with what happened here in Lahaina. The latest death count as of yesterday night was 111 people, and of those, only 6 have been identified. It gives you an idea of just how bad and how difficult this situation is for first responders who are trying to find these bodies here in the remains behind me. There is about 58% of this area that has been canvassed by those doing these recovery efforts, so they are expected to go on a few days, and the latest reports have nearly 1,000 more people either missing or unaccounted for. So still a lot of work to be done here in Lahaina, and a lot longer way to go for these locals to be able to find that respite that they so desperately are looking for.
All right, Dan Grossman reporting live there from Maui. Thank you so much for the update. So the devastation of the Maui wildfires goes beyond just the island. Family members and natives who have left have been heartbroken by the loss and the destruction. Jai Alboro lives in Las Vegas but is a Lahaina native, and he flew back to Maui this week to reunite with his family and help wherever he can. He was relieved his loved ones are safe, but their homes are destroyed, and his family is now temporarily staying in a condo nearby.
Have to stick together for a long time and support everybody for a long time to be able to make it to the finish line for this.
worries for the number of people still unaccounted for, including children, as what he is thinking right now, and says despite the devastation in his hometown, that Ohana spirit remains alive. Right now, people across the nation are doing what they can to give back and help those in Maui face the rebuilding. National correspondent Thomas Hapa spoke with Native Hawaiians on the mainland as they do their part to support the Aloha State.
You'll see it all across the country, those trying to help people in Maui in need, from big operations like nonprofit organizations to small business owners doing their part to help contribute to the millions going to Maui.
To see it just completely leveled is just shocking. Seeing the footage and the videos, the photos that are coming out, is just is devastating, and it's hard to wrap your head around it, actually. So this is called loco moco. This is a very traditional Hawaiian meal.
Across the United States, there are many businesses just like Noki Aloha, using their platform to help those affected by the fires in Maui.
And after that, I mean, just kind of watching and just processing, and then realizing, you know, these people are going to need support, and what we can do as the Pacific Islander Native Hawaiian community here in Colorado, like what we can do to rally together to really provide whatever support that we can.
Shauna Medeiros Tualepa still has family in Maui. She owns Noke Aloha in Aurora, Colorado.
So my initial reaction was to call my family, call my dad especially, to make sure that he's okay, because one of the fires was upcountry, about 5 miles away from him.
After the fires, she decided to take action and started a fundraiser with other businesses in the area to send aid to Maui.
There's a few businesses, restaurants, and like a massage spa business that are putting together drives, supply drives, and there's fundraisers going on. For us personally, we put together a fundraiser that's intended to be like a larger scale, more united collective effort for the state of Colorado.
In every state, you'll see local businesses starting their own relief fund that their patrons can contribute to. It's impossible to calculate exactly how much has been raised nationally by small businesses, but major nonprofits collecting donations are sharing their numbers. One of those organizations, Hawaii Community Foundation, is recommended by the Hawaiian governor. According to the website, more than $34 million has been donated to the Maui Strong Fund that is distributing those funds to many organizations. Some of those include Common Ground Collective, and they've received $200,000 to prepare meals, the Family Life Center with $250,000 to help shelter displaced families, and Hale Makuya Services got $250,000 for health support for those in need.
It's good to see people come together to help, to donate. We've been through so much, have it be through Hurricane Lane in, I believe, 2018 to the destruction of Leilani Estates. We don't get as much relief as other places in the United States. We're so far away from everything else that it's almost impossible to pick ourselves up after that.
Been such an outpouring of supplies and stuff being sent to Hawaii. We're seeing this as more of like a marathon approach, not a sprint.
Tualepa will continue doing her part because she says every dollar raised here on the mainland can make a difference for those affected by this crisis. Thomas Hoppo, Scripps News, Aurora, Colorado.
In the meantime, a new limited edition Beanie Baby is being released with proceeds going to support wildfire survivors in Hawaii. Aloha is gold with a rainbow ribbon and features the words Maui Strong on its chest. The bear also comes with a poem that reads, quote, helping each other all day long, we forever will stay Maui Strong. All the profits from Aloha will go to the Red Cross. So people in Maui desperately need lots of help to piece their lives back together, and Scripps News is supporting relief efforts through the Scripps Maui Wildfire Relief Campaign. You can scan the QR code on the bottom of your screen in order to donate to relief efforts. Any amount will help make a difference. And don't forget, tonight our coverage on the Maui wildfires will continue with the Scripps News special report. We're going to take a closer look at the devastation and the plans to rebuild. Again, you can tune in tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern right here on Scripps News. Coming up next on Scripps News Live, former President Trump looking to delay his upcoming trial as he faces charges on the federal and state level. We're going to break down the request straight ahead. And COVID cases rising once again, how you can stay healthy as a new variant is surging nationwide. We'll be right back.
I was having problems with my legs and my feet.
I suffered a lot of cramps
swelling.
I would dread going up and down steps.
Tingling in my legs due to circulation issues.
The aches and pains have just continued to increase.
Did you know if you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, or are over 40, your leg aches and pains could be from poor circulation? Revitive can help reduce leg aches and pains, swelling, and cramps. Revitive uses breakthrough technology to get your calf muscles pumping like a second heart to increase blood flow, reducing leg aches and pains, cramps, or swollen feet and ankles.
Plus, it's drug-free.
The cramping was terrible, and I don't get that anymore. Thank you, Revitive.
Revitive is FDA cleared and clinically proven to increase oxygen-rich blood flow during use. The smart stimulation works so well, over 3 million people use Revitive.
As a firefighter, I'm constantly on my feet. I wish I had known about Revitive a lot earlier. It would have made a huge difference in really who I am today.
Revitive has given me a better quality of life because I am living without pain.
Revitive reduces leg pains 2 times more than exercise alone in just 6 weeks.
We want to take walks. We want to do more social activities, just the typical things in life that I did not feel well enough before Revitive that I was able to do.
Now, Revitive is regenerizing my legs and making me feel like, let's do more.
Go to Revitive.com now to learn how Revitive can help reduce leg aches and pains, swelling, and cramps.
The doctor said, go for it. And I'm in the best shape in terms of my legs and my ankles and my feet than I've ever been.
Try Revitive. You will see the difference. It works. It worked for me.
Get the most out of life with Revitive. Visit Revitive.com. That's REVITIVE.com. Or call
1-800-317-6641. That's 1-800-317-6641 today. Or visit Revitive.com. Order now.
Law enforcement calls it house stealing, when cyber thieves transfer the title to your home out of your name to take out fraudulent loans or even sell it. How do you protect yourself? Get Triple Lock Protection from Home Title Lock. Our Triple Lock Protection gives you 1, 24/7 monitoring, 2, urgent alerts of any title changes, and 3, title restoration help from our team of experts. Do you know if your title is safe? Check your title status now at HometitleLock.com.
The Omaha Steaks Anniversary Sale is here. Right now, we're offering 50% off site-wide. The only number that hasn't changed is our 100% guarantee that you'll love every bite. And if you've never tried Omaha Steaks, save an extra $30 with promo code FIRSTTIME. Visit omahasteaks.com/TV today. Why wouldn't you want to save 50% on 100% satisfaction? Just a little bargain hunting wisdom from Omaha Steaks.
Well, as summer starts to fade and kids begin returning to school, it's important to note that COVID-19 cases are on the rise again. In the most recent monitored 28-day period from mid-July to mid-August, the World Health Organization reported a significant rise in the number of new cases. And while the number of deaths from COVID were down, the sharp increase in cases is now cause for concern. Scripps News national correspondent Axel Tercios has been following these developments for us and joins us now live from New York. Axel, what more do you know about the rise in cases? What can you tell us?
Well, we do know that the flu is not the only concern families should be having right now at the moment, and possible potential threats Americans will be facing for the next following months. But we do know that the World Health Organization just released its most recent report data from the most recent 28-day period with numbers of new COVID cases. The organization reports over 1.4 million new COVID-19 cases around the world and over 2,300 deaths. These are numbers from the organization's 6 regions, an increase in new cases of 63% to the previous 28 days. At its meeting in Geneva, the organization earlier this month warned about the potential threat the subvariant EG.5 is posing on the world.
Despite these improvements, WHO continues to assess the risk of COVID-19 to global public as high. The virus continues to circulate in all countries, continues to kill, and it continues to change. WHO is currently tracking several variants, including EG.5, for which we are publishing a risk evaluation today. the risk remains of a more dangerous variant emerging that could cause a sudden increase in cases and deaths.
Veronica, here in the state of New York, hospitalizations are up 14% to last week, and we are expecting a new COVID vaccine and booster shots. They are expected to be available late September. Veronica.
All right, Axel Tercios reporting. Axel, thank you so much. All right, happening now, President Joe Biden hosting the South Korean president and the Japanese prime minister at Camp David for a trilateral summit. That summit is now starting. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what the leaders are talking about.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Camp David. If I seem like I'm happy, it's because I am. This has been a great, great meeting. Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, we meet in this historic place to make a historic moment, and I believe that to be true. This is a new era in partnership between Japan and the Republic of Korea and the United States. Our new Camp David Trilat. That's what we have here. But before we dive into the progress we've made today, if you excuse, we used to say in the Senate, a point of personal privilege. I want to start by expressing my appreciation for the contribution that your countries have made toward the relief following the devastating wildfires in Hawaii. I want to thank you both on behalf of the American people. I also want to note that my team is closely monitoring Hurricane Hillary, which has the potential to bring significant rain and flooding to Southern California. FEMA has prepositioned personnel and supplies in the region, and they're ready to respond as needed. I urge everyone in the path of this storm to take precautions and listen to the guidance from state and local officials. And you've heard me say it before, the Republic of Korea and Japan are capable and indispensable allies. Now to the purpose of why we're here. America's commitment to both countries is ironclad, and my personal commitment to bringing these three nations together was real from the very beginning. Since last summer, we've met on the margins of the NATO summit in Spain, the ASEAN summit in Cambodia, and the G7 summit in Japan. Today, we've made history with the first ever standalone summit between the leaders of our three countries, as well as our commitment to meet together on the leader level annually and to have all our relative cabinet member people meet on a regular basis from this point on. Not just this year, not next year, forever. That's the intention. And so I want to recognize the important work that both of you have done and the political courage, and I mean this sincerely, the political courage that you both demonstrated to resolve difficult issues that have stood in the way for a long time of a close relationship between Japan and Korea and with the United States. Your leadership, with the full support of the United States, has brought us here because each of you understands that our world stands at an inflection point, a point where we're called to lead in new ways, to work together, to stand together. And today I'm proud to say our nations are answering that call. First, we're elevating our trilateral defense collaboration to deliver an Indo-Pacific region that includes launching annual multi-domain military exercises, bringing our trilateral defense cooperation to an unprecedented levels. We're doubling down on information sharing, including on the DPRK's missile launches and cyber activities, strengthening our ballistic missile defense cooperation, and critically, we've all committed to swiftly consult with each other in response to threats to any one of our countries from whatever source it occurs. That means we'll have a hotline to share information and coordinate our responses whenever there is a crisis in the region or affecting any one of our countries. And today, we've all reaffirmed our shared commitment to maintaining peace and stability in the Taiwan Straits and addressing economic coercion. We're going to continue to counter threats from the DPRK, including cryptocurrency money laundering to the tune of billions of dollars, potential arms transfer, in support of Russia's brutal war against Ukraine. And together, we're going to stand up for international law, freedom of navigation, and the peaceful resolution of disputes in the South China Sea. Second, we're expanding our economic cooperation to build an Indo-Pacific that is peaceful and prosperous. Today, we've committed to launch a new, what we call a supply chain early warning system, a supply chain early warning system pilot, and which will alert our nations to disruptions of certain products and materials like critical minerals or batteries, so we can get ahead of the issues as they appear with the experience that we've experienced during the pandemic. Excuse me, this is falling off. There you go. And building on the G7-led Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, we're deepening cooperation between our development finance institutions to mobilize more financing for quality infrastructure and secure communications technology to help low-income and middle-income countries throughout the region take on the challenges that matter most to their people. And finally, our partnership is about building a better future for our people. That's why we're deepening our cooperation on global health and launching a trilateral expert exchange in support of the U.S. Cancer Moonshot Initiative. That's going to, I believe, change cancer as we know it. It matters a great deal to me and to families all across our 3 countries. In the United States, we are revolutionizing the way we do cancer research, and together, the 3 of us, I'm confident we can harness our shared spirit of innovation and end cancer as we know it. We're also launching a new collaboration between our national laboratories and advance our science knowledge and technological capabilities together. As we do, we'll work in lockstep to set the standards for safe, secure, and trustworthy emerging technology, including artificial intelligence, which a lot of work has to be done on. Let me close with this. Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, this is the first summit I've hosted at Camp David as president. I can think of no more fitting location to begin our next era of cooperation, a place that has long symbolized the power of new beginnings and new possibilities. In the months and years ahead, we're going to continue to seize those possibilities together, unwavering in our unity and unmatched in our resolve. This is not about a day, a week, or a month. This is about decades and decades of relationships that we're building. Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. President, I want to thank you for your leadership, and I say it again, for your courage that brought us together. I look forward to working with both of you ahead. Now I will yield to, who am I yielding to?
Now we've been listening there to President Biden at Camp David as he hosts the leaders of South Korea and Japan, marking what he is calling a historic trilateral moment as the 3 countries meet. He was thanking them for their help with the Maui wildfires, also talking a little bit about the defense strategies that they have for the region. We're going to continue to monitor all developments coming from Camp David and bring you the very latest. I'm Veronica Cruz. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we will be right back.
Welcome to the place where people go to learn about their Medicare options before they're on Medicare.
Come on in. You're turning 65 soon?
Yeah.
And you're retiring at 67?
That's the plan.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Now's the time to plan ahead. Learn about an AARP Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan from United Healthcare, and how a plan like this helps you take charge of your healthcare with lower out-of-pocket costs. Here's why. Medicare alone doesn't pay for everything. Your deductibles and copays could add up to hundreds, even thousands of dollars a year.
Everyone's a little surprised to learn that one.
Adding a Medicare supplement plan helps pay some of what Medicare doesn't. And that could mean fewer surprises and more predictable out-of-pocket costs. Call United Healthcare and ask for your free decision guide. Or talk with a licensed insurance agent or producer to learn more about plan benefits, options, and rates. Medicare supplement plans let you choose any doctor, any specialist, anywhere in the U.S. who accepts Medicare patients. You don't have to deal with any networks or referrals. This kind of plan also goes with you anywhere you travel in the country. If you're turning 65 soon or over 65 and planning to retire, Find out more about the only Medicare supplement plans endorsed by AARP.
Thumbs up to that.
Remember, the time to prepare is before you go on Medicare.
Don't wait. Get started today.
Take charge of your health care. Call United Healthcare for your free decision guide and learn more about lowering your out-of-pocket Medicare costs and seeing any doctor who accepts Medicare patients.
Oh, and happy birthday or retirement in advance.
Window Wear Project helped me find the strength to go further than I ever thought possible.
I was able to come out of my shell and really connect with others.
So I can feel like part of a team, part of the community again.
It's possible to live better.
It's possible to have a voice and to be heard.
To feel understood.
To find peace.
Because I've experienced firsthand that anything is possible.
We have to go.
A Scripps News special report. Live from Hawaii, the communities of West Maui left in devastation from what could be the deadliest wildfire in American history.
It's heartbreaking.
There's nothing to go back to.
What went so wrong in the moments that mattered, and how will Maui move forward? Lost Island, the Maui wildfires. A Scripps News special report tonight at 9/8 Central, only on Scripps News.
Welcome back. Well, the U.S. has okayed a shipment of F-16 fighters to Ukraine. The plane will come from other countries, and it will be a while before we see them in the skies, though. Ukrainian pilots will train at least 6 months before they take part in the war against Russia. Ukrainian leaders say the planes will give its military an edge in combat. And the human rights chief for the United Nations is saying the recent coup in Niger has jeopardized freedoms in that country. He chastised generals who overthrew Niger's democratically elected president, adding that rule by gun has no place in the world.
It pains me to see what is happening in the country. The images of children killed, of women beaten in the streets, of people sentenced to death. We have seen waves of protests over the past years, calling for justice, equality, dignity, and respect.
Coup leaders have said they plan to prosecute the deposed president for high treason and undermining state security. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. I'm Veronica de la Cruz. Thank you so much for joining us. For the audience leaving us right now, your local programming is up next. And don't forget to check us out on scripsnews.com. Now, if you are staying with us, we have much more news headed your way right here on Scripps News Live. We'll be right back.
If you're living with diabetes, this is the sound that could change your life.
Great news for people living with diabetes. Now you can wear a continuous glucose monitor and eliminate routine finger sticks. The days of repeated, painful finger sticks are over.
Call 800-820-9953.
If you use insulin daily to manage your condition, a continuous glucose monitor could help you control your diabetes and reduce or eliminate those painful finger sticks. If you have Medicare or private insurance, US Med can deliver a CGM system right to your door. And if you qualify, there may be little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurer directly. Call now to get your continuous glucose monitoring system so you can take control of your diabetes and get back to enjoying life.
Call 800-820-9953. That's 800-820-9953.
How can a photo become a vibrant part of your home? When you go to tryfracture.com and print your images directly on glass. Get beautiful depth and clarity on a sleek frameless print that's easy to hang and looks incredible in any space. Go to tryfracture.com now to save 20% on glass prints.
If you're one of the many people struggling financially right now, Bridget's got your back. They'll send you $50 to $250 instantly. with no credit check or interest.
Download the Bridget app today and get $50 to $250 instantly.
Let's get you up to date right now on some of our top stories. The man in charge of emergency management on Maui has resigned abruptly, citing health reasons. Just a day earlier, Herman Andaya said he stood by his decision not to use sirens to warn residents of approaching wildfires. Andaya says he feared sirens would have led to people evacuating inland toward the fires. There are 111 confirmed deaths from the wildfires and hundreds remain missing. Another round of negotiations between writers and studios reportedly just hours away now. The CEOs of Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery expected to participate. They remain far apart on staff sizes and streaming residual payments. Studios are aiming to secure agreements in limited areas and then build momentum to make deals on the harder issues. So the Justice Department is recommending 33 years in prison for the former leader of the Proud Boys. If imposed, Enrique Tarrio's sentence would be the longest for anyone connected to the U.S. Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. In May, a jury convicted Tarrio and 3 others in the far-right extremist group of seditious conspiracy. The longest sentence imposed so far is 18 years for Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rhodes. Hey there, welcome to Scripps News Live. Great to see you on a Friday. I'm Veronica Cruz. Former President Donald Trump and 18 co-defendants have until next Friday now to turn themselves in Atlanta. They're charged with racketeering and other counts for allegedly trying to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. And also developing, attorneys for former President Donald Trump have been asking for a delay in the federal trial charging him with trying to subvert the 2020 election. In a court filing yesterday, his defense team asked for a court date of April of 2026. Prosecutor Jack Smith, in the meantime, has asked for a trial date in January. Scripps News political correspondent Avajoy Burnett joins us now live from Washington with the details on this. So, Avajoy, what is going on? What grounds are Trump's attorneys asking for a more than 2-year delay in the federal election case on? What are they saying?
Hi, Veronica. Well, they are citing the volume of documents. We're talking about 11.5 million pages of documents that the Trump legal team will need to review, and they're saying they need more time. And that is why they're asking for the trial date to start in April of 2026. But on the flip side of that, prosecutors want for the trial to start in January of next year. So there's a vast difference between the two sides here. But here's a portion of the argument from the Trump legal team. They're saying to put 11.5 million pages into some perspective, we began downloading the government's initial production on August 13th, 2023. 2 days later, it was still downloading. So that is a portion of their argument there. But we spoke with a former federal prosecutor about this, and they said it is very unlikely that the judge will actually agree and push things off that far.
I understand that does sound like a lot of documents to review. And if I was the only person looking at those documents, yes, it would take me 2.5 years to get through it. But certainly there are documents that are particularly important and relevant. A lawyer should always look at all of the evidence that's being provided to them to get themselves ready to go to trial. But there's a way to go through, to prioritize, to triage, and get to the most important documents first and get your case ready for trial.
And the ultimate decision will be up to the judge in this case, Veronica, but we're waiting to see what decision she will actually make.
That's right. Let's go ahead and head now to the Georgia case, Avajoy. Trump and his co-defendants required to turn themselves in by next Friday is the day that Willis had set, the DA in this case. And she's saying noon Eastern. And I'm wondering what this process is going to look like. I know there are a lot of questions right now as to whether or not the co-defendants are going to be fingerprinted. Are they going to be booked like the average Joe? Will they have to take a mugshot? What are you hearing right now?
The details will be much like anybody else. We have 19 people here who will have to be processed, including the former president, Donald Trump. So that includes getting their fingerprints taken, mugshots taken. And so they have to go through this process. They have until between now and next week, Friday at noon, to get everything done. But this particular jail, it's known as Rice Street. It is notorious. You hear about this place in mugshots. And in fact, not in mugshots, but in rap songs. And in fact, a few weeks ago, the Department of Justice, they actually talked about this place. They said it is underfunded, it's extremely crowded, and they have long-standing issues. And Veronica, I just got some details out of Atlanta about this particular facility. There's someone who died there yesterday. Officials will be looking into the details behind that person's passing, but it gives you an idea of what this facility is like. There are people who die in jails all the time, but there is a focus on this facility, especially given what is about to happen in the upcoming days. And we spoke with an Atlanta defense attorney. He describes to us what this process could be like for everyone who is showing up there if they don't already have the terms of a bond already lined up and ready to go.
Anybody turning themselves in on a warrant without a bond already set should expect to spend the night and go to first appearance the next day. And I expect that is going to happen with the majority of these 19 individuals, unless they've previously negotiated a bond with the state. If they enter the jail without a bond being determined, every single one of those individuals is going to spend the night at the jail, possibly 2 nights at the jail.
And here's something that is very important to keep in mind. The former president's process is very likely to be very different from anybody else who's showing up there. He has already been granted bond in other jurisdictions, so it's very likely that he will also get bond here. So once he shows up at the Rice Street Jail, he's likely to be in and out of there within just a matter of hours. But for everybody else, this process could take quite some time, especially if they don't already have those terms of the bond already squared away and agreed to, Veronica.
All right. Avjoy Burnett reporting from Washington. We will, of course, be watching this one closely. Avjoy, thank you. So Trump's 2024 White House rivals are in Atlanta today at a conservative political conference. The gathering comes just days after the former president and 18 others were indicted not too far away at the Fulton County Courthouse. Now, Trump isn't attending this conference, but his rivals are, including former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, former Vice President Mike Pence, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, and New York businessman Vivek Ramaswamy. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp says the candidates need to stay focused on the future.
We have to be focused on the future, not something that happened 3 years ago. We don't need to be focusing on stupid things that aren't going to happen before this election. We can deal with that later, after we win.
Now, former President Trump is also expected to skip next week's presidential debate and do an interview instead with former Fox News host Tucker Carlson. Trump rival Ron DeSantis responded to this, saying, quote, candidates who qualify should debate and give voters a chance to hear their platforms. So before Hawaii, there was Paradise, California, where 85 people died in what was the nation's deadliest wildfire. Now that unwanted distinction lies with Maui. And lessons were learned. People in Paradise refused to rebuild without an adequate warning system. National correspondent James Packard says 5 years later, officials have put that system to the test.
This is a sound we've learned to hear as a problem.
This is a test of the Paradise early warning sirens.
A warning sign to get out, to get away. But in Paradise, California, a town rebuilding itself from ashes, this is the sound of resilience, of lessons learned, and of the will to protect life.
If you're going to come back to town, if you're going to be part of Paradise again, what to make you feel secure and happy and wanting to come back, what do you need? Number one on that list was a warning system.
The town has a dozen of its planned 21 early warning sirens in testing this month, ahead of the 5-year anniversary of the Camp Fire this November. At the time, it was the deadliest fire in a century, and it is still the deadliest and most destructive in California history. A fire that came, destroyed, and killed without any of these sirens.
Had that fire struck at 3:30 in the morning instead of 6:30, we would have all been asleep and we would not have had the notifications.
There's kind of mixed viewpoints on it because a lot of people think there won't be a fire here again, but it's not for right now, it's for the future, for our kids. It's to, so that this could never happen again.
A step to protect against fires more intense and faster moving in a climate-changed world.
And satellite can give it the message also. So we've got backup after backup on these. So this way, we're sure we're going to get the message out to people.
James Packard, Scripps News, Los Angeles.
In Arizona, the desert Southwest is seeing more severe fires, and it's an all-hands-on-deck effort to keep people, forests, animals, and air quality safe. And that's why Governor Katie Hobbs just awarded a $5 million grant to Northern Arizona University and its Arizona Wildfire Initiative. The work focuses on 3 areas looking to get Arizonans better prepared for catastrophic fires. And that initiative includes boosting workforce development and education, science and outreach, and community resilience.
I think NAU in general is just very excited about this opportunity to help lead wildfire. Not just the research, but really just the outreach portion of it to the communities across the state and make a difference.
The grant will help NAU create more programs and training for the public and professionals. That can include forest fire mitigation, management during a wildfire, and for post-fire effects. Right now, Hurricane Hilary churning in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Mexico, and it's already making history as the first ever tropical storm watch for the state of California. Take a look. This is the new satellite imagery of the storm as the sun rose this morning. The hurricane, now a Cat 4 storm, could be dumping more than a year's worth of rain in parts of California, Arizona, and Nevada. Nate Holmes from Scripps News San Diego has more as California is preparing for the worst.
Hurricane Hilary making its way up the coast, and it could have a huge impact right here in San Diego. Now, emergency crews are keeping an eye on areas that are prone to flooding, like here in Mission Valley. We are here in Avenida del Rio, right behind us. This area typically is prone to flooding. That's because the San Diego River rose right over that street. Barricades already standing by in case crews have to shut down that road. But emergency services says they are ready for whatever Hurricane Hilary may bring.
For us in the EOC, we'll be in the lowest level of activation, ready. But as it escalates, we'll start bringing in the other individuals to staff the EOC.
The city's operations center is monitoring Hilary closely, and here in Mission Valley in particular. Now, if the storm were to miss the city of San Diego but stay in the county, the city operations center still plans to help. But again, a lot of it depends on how Hilary plays out in the next day or so. Regardless of the storm's severity, there are some things we want to remind you. First and foremost, turn around, don't drown. If you see standing water, stay back because it could still be rising and be very swift. Just 6 inches of water can sweep a person off their feet, and as little as 12 inches can move your car off its tracks. Speaking of cars, today and tomorrow may be a good idea to check those tires and windshield wipers to make sure everything is working properly in the event that you do have to drive in the rain. And it's always a good idea just to have a plan for you and your family in case you need to leave or are evacuated, and that's for any emergency situation. Reporting in San Diego, I'm Nate Holmes, Scripps News.
And still to come on Scripps News Live, listen up home buyers. We all have the tips, we have the tricks on the best time to buy and also how to navigate this volatile market coming up. You're going to want to check it out. Also, we'd like to hear from you. Feel free to give us a call anytime. That is our Scripps News viewer hotline on the screen right now. You can give us a call toll free. It's 1-833-4SCRIPPS. Again, that number is 1-833-472-7477. Feel free to share your comments and your story ideas. We'll be right back.
We have to go.
The communities of West Maui left in devastation from what could be the deadliest wildfire in American history. Lost Island, the Maui wildfires. A Scripps News special report tonight at 9/8 Central.
This is an important message for the millions of Medicare recipients covered under your state's Medicaid. Medicare and Medicaid give you some benefits, but there are Medicare Advantage plans available with even more benefits and savings. Call the number on your screen and get a free Medicare benefits review to see if you qualify. A licensed insurance agent is standing by to take your call.
Just call 800-981-2945 now.
Some Medicare Advantage plans may include dental, vision, and hearing coverage, $0 copays for prescription drugs, and an annual allowance to spend on groceries, rent, and utilities for those who qualify. Plus, some plans may include lots of doctors and hospitals all in-network. You don't get these benefits automatically. Call now and get a free, no-obligation benefits review. Just call 800-981-2945 now. That's 800-981-2945. Plus, certain beneficiaries may qualify based on income verification to enroll in their state-based Medicare savings program. That can add up to $164 back to their Social Security check every month. Call the number on your screen to see if you qualify for this state-based program. A licensed insurance agent is standing by to take your call. Just call 800-981-2945 now. Medicare and Medicaid give you some benefits, but there are Medicare Advantage plans available with even more benefits and savings. Plus, some plans may include lots of doctors and hospitals all in-network. Plans may include dental, vision, and hearing coverage, $0 copays for prescription drugs, and an annual allowance to spend on groceries, rent, and utilities for those who qualify. Plus, you may be eligible for a plan with free transportation. Remember, you don't get these benefits automatically. Call now and get a free, no-obligation benefits review. Just call 800-981-2945 now. That's 800-981-2945.
Law enforcement calls it house stealing, when cyber thieves transfer the title to your home out of your name to take out fraudulent loans or even sell it. How do you protect yourself? Get triple lock protection from Home Title Lock. Our triple lock protection gives you 1, 24/7 monitoring, 2, urgent alerts of any title changes, and 3, title restoration help from our team of experts. Do you know if your title is safe? Check your title status now at HometitleLock.com.
This is Sydney.
Hello.
Look at the space between her head and her shoulder. It's a square. The ancient Egyptians knew this. Pharaohs used this headrest. They offered great support, but were they comfortable? The Pillow Cube was made to fill that shoulder gap, optimized for support, comfort, and cooling. Buy the Pillow Cube today.
Do you have an idea for a story you would like to see or a comment on our coverage you want to share? We want to hear from you. Call our Scripps News viewer hotline at 833-4-SCRIPPS. That's 833-4-SCRIPPS.
Welcome back to Scripps News Live. So it seems like buying a home keeps getting more and more expensive with every passing week. And this week, we saw mortgage rates jump to their highest level in 22 years. Financial service company Bankrate says the average rate on 30-year home loans jumped to 7.31%, and that is up from 7.12% just last week, and it is the highest since May of 2001. Earlier, I spoke with Jeff Ostrowski. He is the principal writer on home lending at Bankrate, and we talked about how we got to this point and what it all means for potential home buyers. We have mortgage rates now over the 7% mark, but historically speaking, how high of a number is this?
Well, it's a really shocking number for everyone who's accustomed to rates below 5%. I mean, over the past decade, it was really hard to get a 30-year mortgage for more than 5%. And of course, during the pandemic, mortgage rates got below 3%. But if we look back farther, if we look back to the 80s and 90s, it was pretty routine for mortgage rates to be much higher. So mortgage rates infamously in 1981 hit 18%. And really throughout the 80s, they were in double digits. Throughout the 90s, mortgage rates in the 8 and 9% range were pretty common. So historically speaking, 7% is not all that jarring. But compared to where we've been over the past decade, it's a real jolt.
Yeah, I remember my mother telling me that she got her mortgage at 9%, and she was actually quite proud of that. It was a good number for her. Nevertheless, this is causing a lot of home buyers to sit on the sidelines. They're wondering if and when they should get in. Let's talk a little bit about how the Federal Reserve raising interest rates actually impacts a mortgage rate. What should potential buyers be doing right now, and how should they be looking at what the Fed is doing?
Yeah, so the Fed is a little bit tricky to gauge just because the Federal Reserve doesn't directly control mortgage rates, but Fed policy does flow through to mortgage rates. So the closest proxy to the 30-year mortgage rates is the 10-year Treasury bond, and that reacts pretty closely to what the Fed's doing. But so for homeowners, or for potential homeowners, I don't know how useful it is to try to figure out what's going on in the mortgage market. Or forecasting rates. I think the more useful exercise is just figuring out how you're going to afford a home in this market. And so One strategy that I advise for first-time buyers is don't get too hung up on a 20% down payment. A 20% down payment will get you the best overall deal on your mortgage, but the median home price now is over $400,000. A lot of first-time buyers probably don't have $80,000 just sitting around. So I would say for a potential home buyer, consider making a down payment of 5% or 10%, and don't get too hung up on the 20% down payment.
All right, so you're saying look at making a down payment of 5% or 10%, and don't get too hung up with putting 20% down. Is that your best advice right now for those wanting to get in?
Yeah. I mean, that's one piece of advice. It's just a very challenging market in terms of affordability. Home prices are near historic highs. Mortgage rates have doubled over the past couple years. Incomes have not kept pace with either of those. So it's just a very challenging market right now for first-time buyers. So I would say, yes, look at a lower down payment loan. Make sure you really shop around for a mortgage, because when mortgage rates are this volatile, there can be pretty wide ranges of the quote that you get in terms of a mortgage rate from different lenders, even on the same day. So make sure you compare at least 3 different offers. And then also make sure that your credit score is as high as it can possibly be, because that's the most important factor in setting your mortgage rate.
Now, Jeff also says if you're shopping around for a mortgage rate, a 30-year fix will give first-time buyers more flexibility. And don't forget, it is possible that rates could fall if you are thinking of doing a refi. Coming up next on Scripps News Live, Bridget Pettis retired from the WNBA, but she's continuing to make game-changing moves. We're going to take a look at her journey from the court to the garden. And we'd like to remind you to follow us online at scripsnews.com, also on X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and on Threads. We'll be right back.
If you, like many people, are covered by both Medicare and your state's Medicaid, here's something important to know. Now you could get even more health benefits than you already have. It's the United Healthcare Dual Complete Plan. To find out if you or someone you care about is eligible, it's easy. Call now to talk with us. We can explain it all and answer your questions. Medicaid gives you benefits, and Medicare gives you some too. But a dual complete plan can add even more benefits and features compared to original Medicare. You'll have lots of doctors and hospitals to choose from. $0 copays on all covered prescriptions, including brand names. And depending on where you live, you could enjoy other benefits too, like more dental care and rides to and from your doctor or pharmacy. Most plans even give you up to $300 a month to help pay for covered over-the-counter products, groceries, and new this year, utility bills. And best of all, with this plan, there's no extra cost to you. Remember, if you have Medicare and Medicaid, chances are you could get a dual complete plan. So call now to talk with us. Our agents are available to help. We know healthcare can be confusing. United Healthcare can straighten things out. And with over 40 years of experience, you can count on us to be there for you. With a dual complete plan, you could have a wide choice of doctors to choose from. $0 copays on all covered prescriptions. Help paying for covered over-the-counter products, groceries, and utility bills. More dental coverage too, all at no extra cost. If you have both Medicare and Medicaid, you may be eligible for dual complete. So call the number on your screen now to see if you're eligible or to enroll. There's more for you with the United Healthcare Dual Complete Plan.
Yeah, dude, that doesn't look good. I know what to do. I'm going to CashNetUSA.com. I can apply in minutes, and if approved, I can have the money as soon as the same business day.
Go to CashNetUSA.com to apply for the money you need.
Hi, I'm Sophia, founder of Pair Eyewear. The only glasses you can change, like you change your clothes. Each pair starts with a base frame, then choose from over hundreds of designs, like a top frame from your favorite holiday. Or you can even turn your glasses into sunglasses. Every pair starts at just $60, including prescription lenses. Glasses are an extension of your personality, and we're here to celebrate each and every version of you. Discover your next pair at paireyewear.com.
Together.
Juntos.
Together.
We stand up to cancer.
On Saturday, August 19th, join Stand Up to Cancer.
So just stand up with us.
Stand Up to Cancer. Saturday, August 19th at 8/7 Central on Scripps News.
Welcome back to Scripps News Live. A founding member of the WNBA's Phoenix Mercury is making a difference beyond just the court. Javier Soto with Scripps News Phoenix shows us how Bridget Pettis has been championing change.
For Bridget Pettis,
I mean, I'm an athlete, so I could do anything.
this is what life after basketball looks like.
Our talent is something that has a time limit. I think it's important to know that it's not all about basketball.
Pettis came to Phoenix in 1997 when she was drafted by the Mercury in the inaugural WNBA draft.
I remember Cheryl Miller called me up and told me that I was coming to join her with the Mercury, and those were phenomenal times.
Bridget Pettis, a big-time play by a big-time player.
Just was, you know, the beginning of something so marvelous.
She played 6 seasons in Phoenix, working as an assistant coach for several more. Her number is now retired by the Mercury, but she says she's anything but retired.
I'm not just a basketball player. And one day, you know, I had to put my shoes up and I didn't get to run anymore. And who are you after that? And that's what I had to discover out here on the land.
Pettis is the co-founder and farmer at Project Roots.
We grow squash, tomatoes, cucumbers.
It's a nonprofit community garden in South Phoenix.
I stepped away from basketball, you know, my heart got pulled towards the land.
Pettis was drawn to the farm as a way to help educate others on the importance of healthy eating.
I never thought myself to be a farmer, but, you know, it just happened that way.
All the food grown here stays in the community. The fresh fruits and veggies go to those who might struggle to get them otherwise.
I love seeing the miracle of food growing out of the earth and just, you know, doing our part.
Now Pettis hopes to grow Project Roots and feed even more families, making sure her legacy in Phoenix is bigger than basketball.
Every day I kind of get more and more immersed in it. I always saw myself as a servant, you know, for God and his work on this earth, and I'm just grateful that I got a place that is contributing.
I'm Javier Soto for Scripps News.
And tonight on ION, the Friday night spotlight is on the Chicago Sky versus the Atlanta Dream, and tip-off will happen at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And then at 10 p.m., the New York Liberty are in Phoenix to take on the Mercury. There are also a number of other games on ION tonight. All you have to do is check your local listings. Don't forget the popcorn. I'm Veronica de la Cruz. Thank you so much for joining me. Coming up next, we're learning more about the fate of senior citizens at a retirement community in Maui. Our Del Walters will have details for you. You are watching Scripps News Live. We'll be right back.